Once you have all of your EDI information set up in the customer file, you're ready to begin processing EDI invoices. Processing EDI invoices is basically the same as doing any other invoice in the system. The only difference is that the bill to account will have an EDI code on it, and that will alert the program that it needs to send that invoice electronically to the insurance network. And you'll do that by running a closeout report at the end of the day and then sending those invoices that have been marked for EDI through to the insurance networks. So we'll quickly go through an EDI invoice. You'll need to add in your customer's information. So we'll just use a customer we have in here. On the bill to side, you're going to highlight where it says same, and then you're going to type in part of the name of the insurance company. And I'm going to go ahead and pick the State Farm one here. And now here's the important part. You can see where it says EDI that box is checked. So that means this insurance company is set up for EDI, and right next to the check box it has the EDI code that's set up for that particular insurance company. So if that's all correct, then we're able to send this through EDI. You'll also notice up in the top in the header it'll say EDI new. So if it doesn't show EDI there and the EDI checkbox is not checked, then the EDI code is not set up on this particular insurance company. So to quickly do that, you can just double click right on the account name and it will open up the account window, and then you can go ahead and from the EDI code drop down select the appropriate EDI code and then choose save and return at the bottom, and then it'll be set up permanently. Also, you may not have noticed, but up in the top right corner in the price level box, it did change to the State Farm price level. And again, that is set up when you set up the account, you need to set what price level that account should use. And by setting up a price level, then you don't have to constantly change the prices manually to match what they should be. It'll just automatically price everything correctly for that particular insurance company. Down at the bottom, we've got the claim button. You're going to click on the claim button, and the claim screen that comes up is going to depend on the EDI code. So the Lynx claim window is going to look different than ones for SafeLight. You'll just fill in the required fields. So you notice those are in red, and then the fields themselves are yellow, but you may have changed the colors in your program, so they might be a different color. So you just need to enter in that information. Job location is either going to be shop or mobile. The date that you made the installation, and then if they have a deductible amount, and then the VIN number. And one thing to keep in mind here in the VIN number, I've just typed in whatever, and I'm going to get a warning that the VIN is invalid. Obviously you want a valid VIN, so you usually would get that off of the car, but you do need to keep in mind sometimes the insurance company has a incorrect VIN number, and so when you're processing EDI, because it's in their computers that way, you are going to need to make sure that you send the VIN through as how the insurance company has it. So if on the customer's insurance paperwork it's different, you'll want to put it in however it is on the insurance paperwork. You'll then just need to go into the auto glass section, make sure you've got the vehicle information put in, then go to the glass section, and you're going to pick the appropriate piece of glass. And then you'll want to make sure that the proper items are on here. So there's an extra molding on there. We'll just take that off. And then once you have all that, you could save this. We could save it as a work order initially until the job is completed. Once the job is completed, we would have hopefully collected the insured's deductible. So we would need to go to the Payments tab to enter in the insured's deductible. So we would put in that amount, and then from the payment type, we would pick how they paid us. Now, one thing to keep in mind with insurance work is sometimes you may waive all or part of their deductible. So if you do waive part of the deductible or all of the deductible, you need to put in the amount that you waived, and then for the payment type you're going to pick discount deductible, and then this way the program registers it as a payment as far as being able to complete the invoice. However, it doesn't go into your daily deposit screen because it knows it's not really actually a payment that you received. Once you have your payment information in here and everything is complete, we would want to go ahead and save the job as an invoice. Now, until the job is saved as an invoice, it will not be sent through EDI to the insurance network. So if there's a particular job that you've already done and you're not being paid for it and you're not finding it on your EDI reports, make sure that it's been saved as an invoice. And then the other thing that's going to happen, and we'll talk about in just a moment, is it has to be closed out. So if the invoice has not been closed, it will not send through EDI. You will notice there is a hold EDI option in the Save As window there. And what that's for is if you've already saved the job as an invoice, but then you, for whatever reason, don't want to send it through EDI yet, you can choose the hold EDI option. If you do choose the hold EDI option, then in order to send that invoice, you would need to recall it, choose Save again, and there will be a Release EDI option. So we'll go ahead and save this as an invoice. And we get our warning again about the VIN being invalid. And we need to put our technician on here. Now that's just how my system is set, is to require a technician, but yours might not be set that way. But anything that you do have set up for the requirement, if it's not done, it won't let you save it as an invoice. So you can see now at the top right corner there, it says invoice and it has the invoice number. And in the date closed field, that is blank right now. So if that's not filled in, then this invoice cannot be actually sent through EDI. So now we need to do our closeout, and you can run the closeout whenever you want. You don't need to run a closeout after every time you save an invoice. Normally, you're just going to run a closeout at the end of the day. Some people might only do it every few days or once a week, but before an invoice can be sent, the closeout does have to be run. And you have to make sure that any invoices are not on the screen, otherwise it cannot lock that invoice to be able to close it. So we're going to go up here and choose New. And now that that invoice is not on the screen, I can run my closeout. So to do that, I would go to Reports, POS, and choose Closeout. And this is going to close any invoices that have not been closed since the last time I ran the closeout. And that closeout date can be changed. So if you are doing this in the morning and you just want to close all the jobs from the previous day and you don't want to close anything that you may have done already this morning, then you can change that date back to the previous date. In the Send field there, you can see EDI Invoices is checked, so that's telling us that it's going to send all of our EDI invoices after they're closed. And on the Print side, you can see there is an EDI status, so if I go and check that, then it will print an EDI status report for me after it's done running the closeout. I'll go ahead and run the closeout here by just choosing OK. And it's going to go ahead and send all of my EDI invoices. And now it's telling me that the processing is complete. And now I will get my actual closeout reports. This is an invoice report that shows all of the invoices that have been closed since the last time I ran a closeout. This is a category report that shows me the amount of money I charged for each category of goods. And here's my cash report that shows all of the... Actually, I'm sorry, I had it backwards. That first report was the cash report, and this is the invoice report. So sorry about that. And now that we have done our closeout, let's just go ahead back here, and I'm going to pull that invoice back up. And you can see if we go to the Job tab now, in the Date Close field, it has a date there. So now I know this invoice has been closed. And if we look in the bottom left there, you can see the EDI status. And you see the status now says Sent instead of New. And in the field below that, it's going to show that it was sent in a file. So if you're ever curious as to what the status on a particular invoice is, every time you process your EDI, it sends all of the new invoices to us here at Main Street. We then bundle those up with all of the other customer invoices and send them to the appropriate insurance networks. And then we get responses back from those insurance networks on invoices that have already been sent in, and we hold those notices on our end. And so when you every time you process, we send back those messages to you as to what the status of those invoices are, and it updates each invoice individually as well as prints it on the EDI status report when you ran your closeout. So if you look at an individual invoice and you go to the job tab down in the EDI status, it will show that status. And if it's been accepted, it'll show that. If it's been rejected, it will show the reason why it was rejected so you know what to fix on that invoice. And then if you want to reprint that EDI report, you can go under the reports and go to EDI and run the invoice status report. And you can just put in the date range you're interested in, and then whether you want to see it by the that date range is for the invoice date or the EDI date, which would be the date it was sent through EDI. And if you're only looking to see rejected invoices, or you can check that checkbox, or jobs that have been rebilled. And we'll just go ahead and run this. And there's our job that we just sent through. So you can see it's got the bill to and then the status. And then right below the status, it has all of the information that comes through on the acknowledgments from the insurance companies. The invoice number, the date, the reference number, and then the amount that was billed. And if we just go ahead, and I'm just going to change my dates here for just a second, go back a little bit further so we can take a look at some more invoices here, and this has some more, and you can see in the middle there where it's got rejected, and then there's information as to why it was rejected, and this one's showing not in production mode. Obviously my system is not really set up for EDI, so I don't have everything turned on here. If you get a message like that something's not in production mode, just give us a call and we can get that taken care of. We probably just need some information from you. Usually the rejection message is going to be something about the amount that you charge not being correct, and it will tell you the amount that should have been charged so that you know what to do to correct it. Usually the messages are going to be pretty self-explanatory, but if you have any questions as to what you need to do to fix an invoice, you just give us a call here at Main Street and we'll be happy to walk you through that. And if you ran a closeout and your internet wasn't working and therefore you weren't able to have your EDI process, you can process it at any time by going under EDI and choosing Process EDI, and it will automatically send anything. It will also go and pick up any new messages you have from any of the insurance networks. So that's the basics of how to process an EDI invoice.